Welcome back to another edition of the It's Your Career Playbook series. Today we are moving on into the It's Your Board, Playbook number 2 from the It's Your Career series. This is episode 3, and today we're going to connect the It's Your record from episode 2 to the It's Your Board here in episode 3. So hang on tight because this is going to be a fun discussion. The It's Your Board document is only current as of July 2015, so it's going on 7 years old now. You'll want to check back often for an update because I'm pretty sure an update's coming out in 2022 or maybe 2023. In this It's Your Board playbook, the table of contents on page 1 tell us that we're going to discuss the purpose, then we're going to look at statutory versus administrative board comparisons, and we're going to dive deep into the statutory boards, otherwise known as promotion boards, and how they work. We'll briefly sum up with a quick discussion on administrative selection boards, and then we'll close out for the lead into the next playbook series. Top of page 2, purpose. The purpose of this booklet is to assist the commissioned officer in understanding the selection board process for both statutory and administrative boards. Refer to the rest of the It's Your Career Playbook series to see how it all comes together. So here's a table on page 2 of statutory versus administrative boards. You've got a type in the first column where we're going to discuss description, governed by, convening authority, approved by, and membership for each category of board, both statutory and administrative. All right, a description of the statutory board includes promotion, selective early retirement, known as SERB, and the various continuation boards. Administrative board descriptions are all other boards that are administrative. Examples given: the 810 education program, the Commander Operational or Command Ashore tours, as well as Acquisition Corps. The statutory boards are governed by law, primarily Title 10 of the United States Code. Administrative boards are governed by instruction or policy, typically at the service department level. Convening authority for statutory boards is the Secretary of the Navy. Convening authority for administrative boards resides at the Chief of Naval Personnel, CNP, or his Deputy Chief of Naval Personnel at BUPERS. I'm sure it's similar for other branches as well. Statutory boards are approved by the President, Secretary of Defense, or Secretary of Navy, whereas administrative boards are approved by Commander Naval Personnel Command or Deputy Commander Naval Personnel Command, and their equivalents in the other branches of service. Statutory board memberships are set by statute in SecNav Instruction 1401.3. This instruction is very specific as to designator mix and pay grade. Other service branches look for your individual branch instructions governing membership for your statutory boards. Administrative membership requirements are determined by the board sponsor. Top of page 3, statutory boards, otherwise known as promotion boards. Any discussion about the promotion system and its relationship to the officer would be incomplete without some knowledge of your position on the Navy active duty list and how it is determined. Your position is a function of the year you were commissioned, the year group, YG, and the lineal standing within the year group, or precedence. Your exact position within your year group can be determined via the Naval Register located on the BUPERS Online website. A quick side note, the next playbook discussion I'll have is going to be on an unpublished playbook known as It's Your Power Directory, and look for it in the coming days because it's going to connect this Supply Corps officer directory to an Excel spreadsheet that takes that PDF produced by the Office of Navy Personnel for the Supply Corps and extract that data into an Excel document, which we call the Power Directory, so that you're better equipped to manage your military career in the U.S. Navy Supply Corps. All right, back on track. Additional information is contained in OpNav Instruction 1427.2, known as rank, seniority, and placement of officers on the active duty list and reserve active status list of the Navy, because that Naval Register is really important when you screen for promotion boards. Year Group, YG. The Year Group is an administrative grouping of officers for promotion and strength management purposes. It is generally indicative of the fiscal year in which an officer was commissioned and represents all officers commissioned with a date of rank within a fiscal year. An officer may change year groups by being selected early for promotion. In this case, he/she moves ahead and becomes part of the year group with which he or she was selected. Year groups are often split at one point for promotion to one grade and then may be split another way for promotion to the next senior grade. These group splits are a result of the promotion plan. They do not change an officer's initial year group. Precedence. Within a year group, officers are arrayed by date of rank. Officers commissioned as ensigns are placed on the active duty list without a precedence number until they have completed 1 year of active commission service as outlined in OPNAV Instruction 1427.2. Until then, precedence is indicated by date of rank and alphabetical sequence by last name. Following 1 year of active commission service, your precedence is first determined by the effective date of commission, and then by your percentile of class standing among other ensigns appointed from all commissioning sources of the same date or with the same initial date of rank. Officer Candidate School, OCS graduates, take lineal precedence among those of the same class based on their Officer Candidate School class standing. May or June graduates of the Naval Academy, Naval Reserve Officer Training Corps, NROTC regular, and NROTC contracts are normally assigned the same date of rank upon commissioning and are fanned into lineal precedence according to their final class standing. The class standing is a weighted average of the officer's academic average, naval science course average, and final naval aptitude grade. After the officers are arrayed into lineal precedence, they are assigned precedence numbers. A precedence number is a 6-digit number followed by a 2-digit subnumber. These numbers are assigned sequentially throughout the active duty list of the Navy in subnumber increments of 10. The significance of your precedence number is important to you in determining when you will be considered for promotion. Now let me caveat here. This is important because reaching back to the previous audio playbook, it's your record. That's where the rubber meets the road, okay? Because you want to have that record in place so that when your lineal number falls into the end zone promotion category, it's ready and you're not scrambling to get ready for the board. Again, this is a readiness discussion, is what we're really talking about, readiness for the boards. Promotion zones. Eligibility is based upon your date of rank and precedence number, which is available via the Naval Registry located on the BUPERS online website. The Officer Promotion Plan is the basis for the zone NAV admin and comes out in December, 30 days prior to the first board. It is determined by the Defense Officer Personnel Management Act, DOPMA, grade table, which limits the number of captains, commanders, and lieutenant commanders based on the total officer strength, vacancies by promotions, retirements, separations, and requirements. Promotion opportunity is based on chance of selection, which determines the zone size, the selection rate, that is the percentage of all officers selected for promotion, and flow point, which is the average years of service when an officer is promoted to the next grade. Board convened dates and requirements, paragraph, bottom of page 4. Promotion boards are convened by SECNAV as authorized by statute. SECNAV provides, via NAV admin, the board schedule and promotion zones at least 30 days before the first scheduled convening date for selection boards of the next fiscal year. The Bureau of Naval Personnel, BUPERS, will post a schedule for the selection boards listing the boards, convening dates, and requirements for each board. These requirements include both the composition of the board members as well as the recorders needed to support the board. As the requirements list is being developed, the Chief of Supply Corps will query inputs from the Supply Corps flag officers for the best and brightest officers to serve as selection board members and recorders. Visit the Naval Personnel Command Selection Board link for additional resources, current convene dates, and information. The Selection Board construct. Once the promotion plans are approved, it becomes the responsibility of the Selection Board to implement them. The Secretary of the Navy, in addition to approving the promotion plan, is charged with the responsibility of appointing statutory selection boards, in effect those required by law, and convening them. Selection boards that consider Supply Corps officer for promotion to the grade of Lieutenant Commander through Captain are composed of at least 5 members, normally 7 members. Each member of a selection board must be senior to all officers considered by the board. Boards considering limited duty officers for selection must have at least 1 limited duty officer board member. The board members have an important duty, and participation on Supply Corps boards is recommended by the Chief of the Supply Corps and approved by the Chief of Naval Personnel. No other individuals within the Supply Corps are privy to board membership. Membership normally reflects the demographics of the candidacy for promotion, gender and ethnic diversity, as well as warfare, geographic, and functional diversification. The board will also have at least 1 line officer. These members serve as information brokers as well as performance judges. Given the guidance and tools, the selection board determines its own ground rules and working procedures. There is no limitation to the length of time a board may take to complete its deliberations. Supply Corps boards usually complete their deliberations within 4 days. All promotion boards are held at Navy Personnel Command, NPC, in Millington, Tennessee. And at the bottom of page 5, there's a triangular graphic with promotion opportunity from all fully qualified for JGs and lieutenants up to the captain promotion opportunity, which is typically 50% plus or minus 10%. And on the right side of this chart is a flow point from 2 years as a lieutenant junior grade, otherwise known as a first lieutenant in other branches, all the way up to 21 to 23 years of service as a captain. And take a look at that graphic to get a better visual representation. Board members, top of page 6. The goal in developing board membership is to provide a broad range of experience and diverse representation of officers who have served at various commands, that is, echelon 1 through 6. Diversity is a general board member requirement. On senior boards, an acquisition corps member and joint qualified officer are part of the membership. With the above parameters as a guide, a desired board membership will consist of officers with a variety of professional backgrounds. The search is made for a mixture of officers with diverse warfare backgrounds, aviation, surface, submarine, expeditionary, subspecialties such as contracting, finance, logistics, and significant tour diversity and experiences. Approximately 2 to 3 months prior to board convening, the Director of Supply Corps Personnel, OP, will begin to socialize the list of visible candidates provided by the Chief of Supply Corps against the requirements list from Naval Personnel Command to develop the members for each board. Recorders. Recorders are assigned to provide administrative support to board members. Recorders meet the week before the board convenes to conduct a thorough review of each record. The recorders are looking for any discrepancy, including missing fitness reports, awards, warfare qualifications, and any other information board members may need to thoroughly review the record. Like board members, recorders are sworn to secrecy at the convening of the board and are under oath not to divulge any of the proceedings, deliberations, or recommendations of a selection board. Recorder duty provides an outstanding opportunity to work with senior supply officers and gain valuable insight into successful career management. If you're interested in recorder duty, contact the Office of Supply Corps Personnel or notify your chain of command. And a quick caveat with respect to recorders, don't expect the recorder in their review prior to the board convening to identify discrepancies in your record. Again, I can't stress enough, it's your responsibility to make sure your record is up to date and accurate for board consideration and to get it selected. Board and record preparation. Preparation for promotion boards begins approximately 4 months before the convening date. The initial list of eligible officers is compiled and modified as required. The eligible list is continually synchronized with an official automated database to ensure consideration of all candidates. The master file is queried 6 weeks prior to the board convening for fitness report continuity. All officers eligible for promotion should review the fitness report continuity report feature available on Bupers Online and compare it with their current performance summary report, PSR, to ensure no gaps or overlaps exist. In general, no gap greater than 90 days should exist in a record. And a quick caveat, the Millington's preparations for board and record preparation begin 4 months ahead of the board. Your individual preparation begins immediately after the last board, right? You always want to be looking ahead and making sure your record is completely up to date. We're at the middle of page 7. Personal preparations for an upcoming board are naturally the responsibility of each officer. When you start preparing, it is completely up to you to ensure you're aware of the general time it may take for corrections to your record to be accurately reflected. Some corrections can take up to 6 months. 1 week before the board convening date, assistant recorders review the record of each candidate, transcribe late flowing data onto the PSR OSR, and ensure fitness report continuity for at least the last 5 years. The week of the board, members arrive at Naval Personnel Command, Millington, Tennessee, and convene the board. Board membership is secret until the board convenes. Members are specifically directed not to visit detailers prior to or during deliberations. The process is designed to ensure a level playing field for all involved. As stated previously, board membership is carefully balanced to represent the demographics of all the candidates in the selection zones. The precept is discussed and the board begins to work. The initial step is the individual record review. Again, each service record is made up of 3 parts. The official military personnel file, OMPF, which includes computer files, including official photo, the performance summary record or officer summary record, and any correspondence from the individual. For records he or she will brief, the board member transcribes information, strengths and weaknesses from the computer file, the OMPF, to the PSR and OSR, Performance Summary Record and Officer Summary Record. All board records, with the exception of any updated officer photos, are destroyed at the conclusion of the board. There's a link for you to click for additional resources concerning active duty officer promotion boards at the bottom of page 7. Board convening orders, release process, and board statistics can be found by selecting the specific board in which you are interested. Board record stamps. PERS 8 at Navy Personnel Command is responsible for board preparations to include specific stamps that are included on officer summary records being considered. The only stamps available for statutory boards are the individual zone, as in above zone, in zone, or below zone. Field Code 17, which is a medical or punitive stamp, regardless of characterization. Letter to the board stamp, which is correspondence to board president, was submitted. The SECNAV resignation or retire stamp. SECNAV approved voluntary retirements and resignations. ACQ for acquisition corps. And then lastly, joint officers determined by Joint Chiefs of Staff. The stamps of HQ for headquarters, JQO for joint qualified officer, AJ for all joint, JS for joint staff, and OSD for Office of Secretary of Defense. Board correspondence. Once again, it is your responsibility to make sure the board has your complete and accurate record. Within 6 months before a board convenes, you should check your Officer Data Card, ODC, and Officer Summary Record, OSR, for missing data, such as awards, education, training, additional qualification designators, and schools. Your Performance Summary Report, PSR, should be accurate and free of continuity gaps. Missing documents, such as officer photographs, fitness reports, awards, etc., should be forwarded to the NPC Customer Service Center, CSC, via a letter to the President of the Selection Board. Command endorsement of your letter to the President is not necessary. Only those officers eligible before a selection board may correspond with the President. Any endorsement or letter written from a third party must be endorsed by the individual officer being considered for promotion, or it will be returned to the originator. All correspondence must be sent through the CSC to arrive prior to the official published convening date of the board, and actually it's about 10 days or 2 weeks ahead of the board convening date, so don't wait to send it last minute. The Social Security number is the only means to add correspondence to a record that has been loaded to a board. If you do not include your entire SSN, you run the risk that the letter might not get added in time. An example letter to the board is available via a link at the bottom of page 8. If you want to mail your letter, it'll be slightly different depending on the carrier. All USPS mail will be sent to one address available at the top of page 9, and then all commercial, such as FedEx, UPS, or DHL, Express, or overnight mail is mailed to a different address, so be sure to look that up. You can also email correspondence to Charlie Sierra Charlie SELBOARD at Navy.mil, so that's CSC Cell Board at Navy.mil. Make sure you include the board number on your letter and envelope. Use either a binder clip or a paper clip with no staples to fasten your documents together. It is unnecessary and a waste of your time and cash to place your letter in special covers, folders, or notebooks. They must be removed to scan your correspondence into your record. Ensure any email correspondence includes cover letter with board number. Do not send email documents, faxes, mailings, or express ship packages to any other location or point of contact at Navy Personnel Command. Call the Navy Personnel Command Customer Service Center to confirm receipt of your package for statutory promotion selection boards. You may also check the status of your package at the CSC online by apparently clicking the link here, and I'm thinking that's probably my Navy Career Center now is probably where you're going to want to go for that. Convening the board, the preset and convening order, in effect, the rules of the road. The mission of any board is to select those best and fully qualified based on performance. For statutory boards, the official status is set forth in the precept from the Secretary of the Navy. The precept specifies the number of officers the board must select and defines the board's legal duties. The Secretary of the Navy also specifies the maximum number of officers that may be selected from below the promotion zone. No limit is placed on the number of above zone selections. A precept is a document signed by the convening authority and directed to the President of the board, giving guidance to the board regarding the criteria upon which their selections should be based. The precept is the only guidance for selection provided to the board, along with the community's convening order. A convening order is a document which orders a specific board to convene at a specified date and time and with selected and approved board members. It provides community and board-specific guidelines, career accomplishments, and specific qualifications to delineate the parameters by which the board members will make their selections. Now, I'm going to caveat this here as this is extremely important. There's typically two sides in the Supply Corps Roadshow brief every year that you want to be hyper-focused on as a JO and honestly as a senior officer as well if you're looking to go into the captain and or admiral ranks. Those are the traits that you want to collect and get into your record throughout your career in order to remain competitive for these promotion boards. Those and nothing else. So don't go off the gouge. Go off of what the boards are using by law to promote records with. And that's how you achieve so-called success in promoting on time or early as you move up the ranks. Okay, back on track. These parameters are taken directly from approved program instructions and or community management briefs. A precept is general and governs all boards in a specific fiscal year, while a convening order is more specific to a particular board. Using the precept as guidance, the only other sources of information about an officer allowed for consideration by a statutory board are the following four things. Official military personnel file records, which contain fitness reports, officer photo, personal awards, and other matters of official record. The performance summary record, PSR, and officer summary record, OSR, which are career resumes containing summary information on your experience in the Navy. And then correspondence, which the officer submits information to the board about his or her record directly to supplement their record. And lastly, no other information other than what is listed above is allowed to be discussed or presented before a board. Once the board convenes, records are assigned to the various members while keeping track of which member reviewed which record. So this is the record review part of the process. Recorders ensure that each board member has the information necessary to review the assigned records. The recorders will also assist in manually recording the votes conducted in the tank or the voting room. Eligible list of officers. Along with the precept, the board is furnished a list of officers in precedent sequence to be considered for promotions. The list consists of those officers who are in the promotion zone, IZ, those above zone, AZ, which are previous non-selectees, who may be selected for promotion to the grade being considered, and those below zone, BZ. Below zone selection is limited to 10% of the primary zone. For example, if there are 100 officers in the primary zone with an 80% promotion opportunity, there will be a maximum of 80 officers selected for promotion. If there are 8 officers selected below promotion zone, also referred to as being deep selected, and 8 selected above zone, the actual end zone promotion opportunity is reduced to 64 of the 100 in zone. Stated another way, the actual end zone promotion opportunity is 64%. In the tank. After the records review phase, the board moves on to the next step, the selection phase. For this phase, most boards move into a room called the tank, which is a private theater-like room where all the members discuss and vote on candidates. The officer photograph and annotated PSRs and OSRs are projected onto large screens in the tank, and the board member, who reviewed a particular candidate's file, briefs that record. The board, using the precept as guidance, recommends, within the numbers authorized, those candidates it considers best qualified for selection. After the briefing, officer has discussed the candidate and all questions have been asked and answered. Each member uses a secret ballot computer keypad to vote a confidence level for the selection of the candidate. Each member can vote either 100%, the member is 100% sure the candidate should be selected, 75%, 50%, 25%, or 0% confidence that the candidate should not be selected. After all the votes are cast, a computer in the tank computes an overall confidence rating, which is then displayed as a percentage on a monitor for all board members to see. The confidence rating of each candidate is recorded and then ranked after all the records have been reviewed and a scattergram is produced. And there's a figure 1 at the bottom of page 12 for a visual. The board president then selects a number of the records from the top scores to be tentatively selected. Typically, they're going to make that break where there's a big difference in the calculated scores, right? So they'll try to group them together, and those in the top score range will be automatically sent forward without any additional record review. Those in the middle will go into something called the crunch, and then the bottom will fail to select, and they'll get rid of those. So the president will then propose his selection as a motion to the entire board. The board will either vote in the motion or members will offer counter proposals. Whichever proposal is accepted by a majority vote of all members. The same scenario is repeated when the board attempts to determine which number of the bottom scoring candidates should be dropped from further consideration. All candidates between the selected and drop scores, those in the crunch, are then re-reviewed by a different board member who briefs that record in the next tank session. Each candidate receives another confidence rating, and the process starts over again. Several tank sessions are usually required before the board determines the candidates best qualified for promotion. Statutory board results. After the board completes its deliberations and votes to confirm the tentative selections, the board then provides a select list to SecNav, and it is subsequently approved by the Secretary of Defense. A select all NAV message is then released, usually 3 months after the board adjourns. Results will also be available via Buper's Access. The following is the release and approval process steps for 04 to 06, read top to bottom, once the board has convened or adjourned. It goes in this order, from Chief of Naval Personnel to the Judge Advocate General, up to the Vice Chief of Naval Operations and Chief of Naval Operations, Secretary of the Navy, Secretary of Defense. The select message is then released. After that, it goes to the President of the United States, and then after the President's desk, it goes to Senate confirmation. And upon Senate confirmation is when the promotion can begin. Under the current promotion phasing plan, 3% of the active duty 04, 05, 06 selectees will be promoted in each of the first 11 months, and the remaining officers will be promoted in the last month of the fiscal year. Full-time support FTS and selected reserve CELRES 04, 05, 06 selectees will be promoted at a 5% per month rate for the first 8 months and at a 15% per month rate for the last 4 months. For those officers selected to 04 and above, Senate confirmation is required before promotion and release via monthly NAV admin. Frocking is not authorized unless approved via procedures outlined in SecNav Instruction 1420.2 Alpha. More information can be found on the NPC Selection Board site. Failure of selection, bottom of page 13. Twice failed to select 2x FAWs. Officers who do not accept or are not offered continuation must be separated by midnight on the first day of the 7th month following release of the board results in which they failed to select for the second time. This is the not later than NLT date as stated in your separation orders. You may separate any time before the month of your NLT date. However, you and your commanding officer must determine this date. Lieutenants who fail to select the lieutenant commander are not eligible for continuation. In some rare and specific cases, the need may arise for the convening of a special promotion board and is addressed in SecNav Instruction 1420.1 Bravo. So that closes out discussion around the statutory board process. If you got any questions on that, feel free to reach out to me or contact the U.S. Navy Supply Corps Career Counselor or your specific career counselor in other line or staff corps across the Navy. But next we're going to move on to administrative selection boards, talk about those. Administrative selection boards. In addition to statutory selection boards, there are numerous administrative selection boards that are convened under the administrative authority of the Navy. Examples of administrative boards are the Defense Acquisition Corps, Postgraduate Education, 810-811, Naval Postgraduate School, LDOCWO In-Service Procurement, Commander Operational Command Ashore Board, Captain Major Command, Command Board and Lateral Transfer, Redesignation Selection Boards. Unless otherwise noted, they are all held in Millington, Tennessee at Navy Personnel Command. Unlike statutory boards, officers must request selection or in some cases submit a letter requesting not to be selected. Administrative boards are held similarly to statutory boards for membership and responsibilities. There is a caveat with respect to Naval Postgraduate School. All junior officers are considered for NPS and a request is no longer needed. Postgrad Education 810-811 Civilian Institution Program. At completion of the 04 Staff Board, the Postgraduate Education Selection Board convenes to select Supply Corps officers for the 810-811 Civilian Institutions Program. See It's Your Education for more information. The same board membership and recorders used for the 04 Staff Board are used for this admin board. General eligibility requirements are released each year with a flash from the chief. Officers interested in being selected for the 810-811 program must submit a screening request to Navy Personnel Command Customer Service. This request should be in the form of a letter to the board. Requests may be mailed to the address in the corresponding with the board section or emailed to csccellboard@navy.mil as previously mentioned. More information on the 810-811 program is posted on the Supply Corps Career Counselor website. Commander Operational Command Ashore Board. Commander Operational Command Ashore selection and duty assignment is a crucial milestone in an officer's career and important to the Supply Corps and to the Navy. The requirement is driven by the number of billets requiring an operational board selected officer. Supply Corps officers receive 2 screening opportunities beginning 1 year after selection to commander. In order to be eligible for the Commander Operational Command Ashore Board, the officers must complete the requirements listed in NAVSUP Instruction 1412.1 Alpha, which include obtaining a reporting senior's nomination letter and successfully completing an oral board. Eligible officers will be screened for an operational assignment during their first screening opportunity. If not selected on the first operational screening, the officer will be screened for an operational assignment and for Command Ashore during their second screening. Selects are placed into a bank and will be detailed to their operational or Command Ashore tour at the first opportunity. Captain Major Command Ashore. Captain Major Command Ashore selection and duty assignment is also a crucial milestone in an officer's career and important to the Supply Corps and to the Navy. This requirement is driven by the number of billets requiring a Major Command Ashore Board selected officer. All board prerequisites are the same as the Commander Operational Command Ashore Board. If the prerequisites were fulfilled as a commander, they still apply for the Captain Command Ashore Board. Eligibility is promotion year group PYG based, with the first year of eligibility occurring 2 years after selection to the rank of captain, and the last will be the fiscal year of the officer's 26th year of commissioned service. Those selected will be detailed to command at the earliest possible opportunity. Acquisition Corps. The Acquisition Corps consists of a select group of highly skilled military and civilian acquisition professionals who meet the Defense Acquisition Workforce Improvement Act, DWIA, education, training, and experience requirements. To continue to support our national objectives by providing our forces the best weapon systems in the world, we must be ready to assume the leadership roles in critical acquisition billets. Acquisition Corps membership is becoming increasingly important in distinguishing between candidates for major acquisition commands. Critical acquisition positions, CAP, and key leadership positions, KLP, should only be filled by Acquisition Corps members unless this requirement is waived by the Director of Acquisition Career Management, DACM, Assistant Secretary of the Navy, RDNA, prior to assignment. The Navy Acquisition Career Management website assists you in obtaining information related to your professional development. Career field certification information with detailed requirements for each certification level within each career field can be found by reviewing the Defense Acquisition University catalog. Once you have completed the requirements for an acquisition career field certification, an application is submitted on the EDACM website. After completing at least level 2 certification in a career field and meeting the 4-year experience requirement, you're ready to apply for Acquisition Corps membership through the annual selection board process, which used to convene each October to select officers into the Corps. I think that process has gone away, however. You do want to ensure in your fit reps, though, that the experience for acquisition you're claiming makes it into that fit rep, and that way you can substantiate your selection into the acquisition professional membership community without any trouble later on. Many Navy officer communities are eligible to join the Acquisition Corps. A NAV admin is released announcing the board, which details the specifics of the application process. Visit NPC PERS 447 website for application details. All Acquisition Corps applicants must either be Department of Navy Acquisition Workforce member graded at GS-13 or above, 04 or above, or be tentatively selected for the Department of Navy CAP. Acquisition Corps membership is an important milestone. All of our 06 acquisition billets and over 50% of our 05 billets are critically coded and require Acquisition Corps membership before detailing officers into these critical acquisition positions. So that closes it out for the It's Your Board playbook. Again, this playbook was last updated in July of 2015. I expect there to be another update at some point in 2022 or 2023. If so, we'll come back and read it again. But this It's Your Board playbook directly connects to and is supported by the It's Your Record playbook on my previous podcast in this series. And then the next playbook we're going to go right into is not a formal playbook published by OP yet anyways, but we're calling it the It's Your Power Directory playbook. And the It's Your Power Directory is an extension of the Supply Corps directory where all Supply Corps officers are listed in a .pdf that's published annually by the Office of Personnel, Navy Supply Corps. Who's now a commander, about 10 years ago, he started extracting that data out of the Supply Corps directory .pdf and put it in an Excel spreadsheet, and has added much more capability to that tool to allow junior officers the ability to gain insights into how officers ahead of them are progressing in the ranks, what duty assignments they're taking, and the like. So it's a really, really good tool. And I asked him if we could write an It's Your Power Directory playbook for that that document and for his tool, which we've done. So it should be posted to the NPC website at some point in 2022. If not, we'll make sure that it's available out there in cyberspace for you to get a hold of, and there will be a link to it in the description of this podcast and of that one too. So again, it's your Power Directory Playbook to come. I hope you enjoyed this edition of It's Your Board Playbook. And to your career, to your liberty, heck yeah.